So Lake Forest. Lake Forest is a cute little city and kind of like centrally located, like central south.
Yeah, technically South Orange County.
Technically south, but fairly centrally located in Orange County. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to talk about the pros and cons of Lake Forest, California.
So stay tuned. What's up, everybody? I'm Sean Dezahd.
And I'm Courtney Dezahd, and we're with Keller Williams Realty right here in Orange County, California. And if this is your first time to the channel, don't forget to press on the subscribe button and don't forget to press on the bell so that you're notified every time we upload a new video, because we upload new videos every week and they're all about what it's like to live in Orange County. And we know from our YouTube statistics that a lot of you guys that are watching, you aren't subscribers. So definitely remember to subscribe.
And you might be thinking, wow, Sean, okay, I love Orange County. I love the glitz. I love the glamour. I mean, especially I love the weather. So I can't wait to move out there now. But the thing is, I'm not in the area and I don't know anything about Orange County. So what do? And I totally get that. So what you want to do is you want to reach out to us, either give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email so we can have that conversation to really help you find that perfect property for you.
So I have a feeling, Sean, that some of the things we say, it's very interesting. We've never gotten more comments from angry locals than from people in Lake Forest.
Yeah, it's funny. So, we try to be real. We do pros and cons of a bunch of different cities in Orange County. And I'd say usually the vast majority of people take it in stride. I mean, it's like, okay, not nowhere's perfect.
Yeah.
But for some reason, we tend to ruffle some feathers when we point out any flaws about Lake Forest.
Yeah, especially if you say anything about their lakes, which, I mean, if you're just being objective, I mean, they're nice for sure. Like living around the lake.
They're nice water features.
Nice water features. It's nice for sure. But it's not a lake, right? Like.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's between a pond and a lake.
Yeah.
Again.
Well, I guess like how Sean was explaining it before. It's like Lake Mission Viejo. I mean, even that I would say,
it's borderline.
It's borderline, right? I mean, if you're talking to people from all over the world, right? Like, let's say you come from, I don't know.
Lake Tahoe.
Lake Tahoe, exactly. That is a lake,
legit.
Right? That's a legit lake. Or if you come from, I don't know, Michigan or something like that. I mean, you're seeing some real lakes. The lake in Lake Forest, while pretty and nice.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not a lake. But for some reason, if you state that, people who live in Lake Forest, they get very angry.
No! God, please, no! No!
Yeah, I've gone boating. I'm like, it's a lake. And I'm like, okay. It's a lake.
Yeah.
And the forest, so the second part is, okay, so and this is why we criticize it, right? Because it's called Lake Forest. So therefore, lake being in the name kind of makes you think like, okay, well, this is a big feature of the city. And the city is fantastic. There's a lot of other features.
Yeah.
I would say lake is very low on my list of features of the city. Now, the forest part is actually a little bit more legitimate because you have these eucalyptus groves. Like, it's pretty cool. Actually, I always think of, I remember showing, one of my favorite memories of Lake Forest is showing some properties and they backed up to the eucalyptus, forest there, right? Mm-hmm. And it felt like from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. You felt like there was that house, like Cameron's house, where the garage was backed up to the forest. And I just thought it was the coolest kind of backdrop. So again, I appreciate the forest part. The lake part is what I take issue with.
Yeah, we take umbrage with that. And then of course, because Lake Forest borders Irvine.
Yes.
So a lot, not just us, but a lot of ways that people describe Lake Forest is in comparison to Irvine, right? Because it is the neighboring city. And so, people will say Lake Forest is kind of like Irvine light.
Oh, now the gloves are off. You're going there. So yes, okay. I go, hey, Lake Forest is awesome. Mm-hmm. It's kind of got some similarities with Irvine because it's got associations. It's next door. Yeah. It's a similar topography in a lot of ways.
Lots of associations, just like Irvine. Lots of parks,
right
just
by
like
the
Irvine.
Freeways,
by the freeways, just like Irvine.
Yeah, it's a lot of things. And then again, it's just
good school district, just like Irvine.
Yeah.
But for some reason, that really angers a lot of people.
Yeah, I didn't realize that Lake Forest had this strong identity where it's Lake Forest or die. Yeah. I didn't realize that, so I apologize to those that really felt that we just rubbed them the wrong way.
Sorry.
We slighted them, and I apologize. But if
It's
you're looking
so-
for a kind of an Irvine feel, Lake Forest is a good idea.
So let's talk about, so the median price of Lake Forest at the time of this reporting is about $1 million, which is about $300,000.
$1,064,000, I think.
Sean knows the exact number. Lake Forest is about,
No,
that was
Irvine.
Lake Forest.
Irvine's almost 1.3.
Yeah, Irvine is almost 1.3, so Irvine.
Hence the light.
Hence the light, right? So, according to statistics, right, data, Lake Forest tends to be a little bit less expensive.
Yeah, it's a slightly above average Orange County's median price point.
Yeah, so
Which is great because actually when you're talking about
you're
a city
getting
that's
a lot of the things that people look for Irvine, right? They're looking for the good school district. They're looking for, according to the rankings, right?
the location.
Go to niche.com and see for yourself,
Yes.
right?
And also look in the location.
Look
right?
at the
Again,
location.
They border each other.
Yeah,
so.
looking, if people like HOAs, they like master planned communities.
Yeah, definitely have some of that there.
Yeah, they like the amenities that come with master planned communities. Lake Forest has all of that stuff, right?
Yes. No, exactly.
Hence the Irvine light.
Yes. Again. And we don't mean this in a slight. I hope people understand
I know,
that. This is.
I love Irvine.
Yeah.
Irvine is one of my favorite
And I
cities.
really like Lake Forest a lot too. I've always liked Lake
Yeah.
Forest, so it's not like when I say this, I don't say this to really cut people deep.
Yeah.
But again,
I don't
so if you
know.
are kind of and again, a lot of people that we've had looking for properties in Irvine,
Mhm.
one of the places we actually recommend is we'll check out Lake Forest as some more options because it does have a lot of features. If you're looking for stuff in Irvine. Not to say it's a one-to-one comparison, but it's got some similarities.
For sure. So we'll go into this a little more. So
We're talking about the pros.
Let's talk about the pros. One of the pros of Lake Forest, while it is technically South County, it is pretty centrally located, I would say, in Orange County.
Yes.
And it has good freeway access next to the 5, the 405, and the 241, which is a toll road.
Yes.
So,
And it also has big artery roads too. So
Yes.
basically you have some big Parkway, Lake Forest Parkway, you have some big roads that get you in El Toro, so these are big roads, almost freeways in and of themselves that helps you to funnel you, to get you to the freeways, from no matter how far out you are. If you're all the way out in Foothill Ranch, it's not, even though you're several miles down, you can get out to the freeway relatively quickly.
But I will say a con of Lake Forest is if you are living that far out in Foothill Ranch, one drawback is that it is quite a commute. Going that far east, it can be when you're that far off the freeway, and then
that's why you want to take the 241 though.
Well, that's
but then you have
that's
to
a
go
toll
tolls,
road.
but you do have that option.
Yeah, you do have that option, and then of course, the farther you get east in Orange County, the hotter it gets. Right in the summer, you will have to have the air conditioning cranking.
Exactly.
Again, this is not heat you're going to see in Phoenix, Arizona, or something like that.
Yes.
But it is hot.
And that's another thing people have gotten upset us about.
Oh,
So we
yeah.
talk about how warm it is as you get more inland.
Mhm.
Again, you have to understand it's not a slight. We're trying to be real about it, saying, hey, look, the best weather in the world is on the coast of Orange County.
Nice.
Right? It's pretty hard to dispute it just because it's just so beautiful. So, but of course, as you go a few miles in and a few miles in from that, it's going to get, again, you don't have the Pacific Ocean as much, keeping the temperature pretty relatively temperate.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be hard. If you're on the ocean, a lot of times you don't even need the air conditioner at all in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a couple weeks here and there, but as you go inland, you're going to need it more and more. And obviously, we've lived, inland where in Northwood and in Irvine, and you're having that AC kind of going in the summer. That's just the reality of it. So that's so that's when we're saying it's not as good.
Mm-hmm.
It's still great.
Yeah,
but
it's
just
still the best weather in the world. We're not complaining.
Yeah, you're just comparing it against ourselves, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It's Orange County, coastal Orange County, as opposed to slightly inland Orange County.
Mm-hmm. And then we're talking to Orange County, Southern Californians here who are the most spoiled people.
Yes.
When it comes to weather in the world.
Spoiled man.
So you talk to anyone who's lived in Southern California for more than a year.
Yeah, you get weak pretty quick.
You get very weak, and so to them, Foothill Ranch is hot, right?
Yes.
So
we're just saying it as it is. Like, again, coming from a Southern California perspective, it's hot, but from anywhere else in the world, it's amazing.
And then since we are talking about inland,
like kind of like more like Foothill Ranch, like that, like Portola Hills.
And some of the new construction that's out there in Lake Forest, which is very beautiful. So, I mean, this is kind of like a pro and con, right?
Yes.
Because some people, they really like to be out, right? They want to be out, they want to be in the wilderness or whatever.
Less neighbors, so it's kind of like, abutting the like Cleveland National Forest or whatever. Like, you want to be kind of out there, which is great.
And you get opportunity for new construction too.
Yes, exactly. But I mean, having said that, we gotta be real. There is elevated fire danger at the farther east you go, just because there is behind that is just more like wilderness where things can happen. And again, firefighters have done a fantastic job of preserving life and structure, but doesn't mean that they're batting 1,000. No one does. But at the same time, it's just you have an elevated danger. That just is what it is. And again, for a lot of people that we sell properties to, that's a risk there. Again, it's a relatively low risk, right? But it's elevated from like obviously being on the coastline, of course.
And since we did mention new construction, so do you want to talk about some of the new construction that's in Lake Forest and the pros and cons of that?
Yeah, so what's cool is that Lake Forest does have a decent amount of new construction where like
for Orange County.
Yeah,
right?
For Orange County, because Orange County in general is kind of more or less built out, and so there's not much bare land where you're getting a lot of new construction happening. But fortunately, Lake Forest does have a bit of that. So near Baker Ranch, like you have some new construction going on there. I don't believe that they have Mello-Roos. Where what Mello-Roos is basically it's an addition to your property taxes. So it's like, and it can range all over the place depending on the development. So what that is like, it's kind of funding infrastructure. So like schools, roads, fire stations, like all that stuff. So basically, because let's say a lot of this stuff, like new construction tends to take place in, undeveloped land, they need to build all that stuff. So therefore there's this Mello-Roos. It's usually lasts about 20 years, give or take. And during that time, again, you're paying an additional property tax, like in addition to your property taxes to help fund this. And sometimes it can be, not much, a few $100s a year. Other times it can be thousands of dollars per year. So it can make a difference certainly for what you're looking, what your monthly budget might be. So yeah, so like the new construction near Baker Ranch, for instance, that tends to actually, like, it's kind of already been built. So that I don't believe has Mello-Roos, but then obviously as you get farther out, like Portola, then you kind of get, that's like, again, new development, and they do have Mello-Roos. So again, if that's important for you, let us know. Like, that's when you reach out to us so we can kind of guide you, right? Like, there's some not all new construction is Mello-Roos. Some don't require it. So that's where, again, and some people don't care. They're going, I like the newness of everything. It's worth it for me. Totally get that too. So it's obviously you just want to have that in your budget to understand what your monthly payment's going to look like.
Okay, so let's talk about a con of like
or a pro, like it's a pro and a con.
Okay, well, I was gonna compare it to Irvine.
Okay. Oh no.
So one of the big, criticisms that people have of Irvine and, all of South County in general is that it's a lot of master plan communities. So it feels...
Homeowners associations.
Yeah, homeowners associations. So it feels very like cookie cutter. Like everything is a different shade of beige. And I would definitely say a lot of Lake Forest is similar, right? I mean, it has, if that's not your jam, right? Like if you hate... the HOAs and the big, developments, it might not be for you. Yeah,
so obviously the cons part is that, these are tract homes, like kind of like a few different models, and you're kind of seeing them sprinkled about. But on top of that, you do have HOA dues, which for houses don't tend to be exorbitantly expensive, to be honest, because they're not covering structure. It's when, when you see high association dues, typically it's when you have a condo or townhome where they're also covering maybe some utilities as well as like the structure of the property, right? Whereas, as a detached single family residence, they tend to be a bit, it's more like upkeep of the amenities, upkeep maybe if it's gated or that kind of thing of the streets if it's gated also. So it's like those kind of things where it varies, but again, it is an additional cost, so that's there. And also you do have that layer of, oversight. So you have it's not just your home, and then in the city, like that you're trying to get, permission to do, let's say, any sort of improvement. You may need some permission from the HOA, like through an architectural committee. So if that's the case, so there is an additional layer. And some people really hate that, and I totally get it. They're like, this is my home. I'm not attached to anybody. I don't want anyone lording over me. Totally get that. However, some people go, you know what? I like it. It keeps things kind of consistent because even in Irvine, for instance, it's funny when you see some homes like that are like there's like a specific pocket of Irvine that's not in an HOA as opposed to almost like the rest of it that is. And I personally don't like that pocket as much as like because again, you just kind of like that. There's no rhyme or reason to how the houses are. So there's not like a good flow to it in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so,
like some houses will be 3 stories, some houses will be like
1 story,
right to the sidewalk. Yeah, it looks kind of weird.
Yeah.
And then one house will be like a 1-story shack.
Yeah. it's definitely quirky. So like I actually like I feel like the HOAs do kind of tend to keep the streets like nice and up, they're more upkept, and then again the homes tend to be kind of make more sense. And they do have amenities, which are awesome. Mm-hmm. So again, it's again different strokes for different folks, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I would say some people really like the big master plan communities because of the amenities, right? You get the pools and the tennis courts, and you get the parks and all that stuff. So
for sure,
it's really just what do you want?
Yeah, exactly. What are you looking for?
And then speaking of parks,
another pro of
Lake Forest. It does have a lot of parks.
Yes.
So if you like,
they should call it Park Forest.
Park Forest
or Forest Park.
Forest Park, yeah.
But yes, there's lots of parks in Lake Forest, and that's a kind of a general theme. Honestly, a lot of Irvine and South Orange County with again more master plan kind of communities and stuff. So it feels like there's like a park where there should be a park, right? Like it's not like you have to go way far away to get into a park nearby. Like it makes sense, which is fantastic because obviously, whether it's for yourself or if you do have kids, it's nice to be able to not walk or have to drive to get to a park, basically.
And then I would say another big pro of Lake Forest is it actually has its own fairly large business park. So they have a decent amount of large companies that are based there. Oakley, yeah, I think Loan Depot. And then they also are right next to the Irvine Spectrum, which is another huge employment center for all of Orange County.
Well, I'm massive. I mean, and again, it's almost like Lake Forest is right there, which is really cool. So you're getting really good access to. This is a huge hub for headquarters of the Irvine Spectrum. So not only does Lake Forest itself have a ton of, office office buildings and everything, but also the Spectrum itself, which is right next door to Lake Forest. It's not like it's in Irvine technically, but it's not like way in Irvine where, you're like literally bordering where all this is kind of happening. And so, again, it's a huge hub for businesses.
Mm-hmm. And then obviously, if you're right near
Speaking of the Spectrum.
The Irvine Spectrum, then you have a lot of really good retail options.
Yes.
Restaurant options. It's right at your fingertips. Right?
For sure. Yeah. And that's not the only one, but it's a huge one right there because it's a really fantastic, again, it's a huge mall, like a huge outdoor mall. It's got all the stores that you would think ought to be, that you'd want to more or less frequent, unless you're going to Hermes or something like that. And of course, then you're gonna have to go all the way to South Coast Plaza. But for most part, you're going Nordstrom's, Macy's, all that stuff. Irvine Spectrum really has you covered.
Mm-hmm. And then the last thing we'll talk about, the schools in Lake Forest is part of Saddleback Unified School District. And definitely, I would say, there's a lot of very highly ranked schools within it if you go on niche.com. But some of the schools are hit and miss according to the rankings.
And when we say miss, we're according to niche.com, we're talking about, again, above average, right? So we're not talking about some are excellent. So basically the schools range from above average to excellent. That's according to niche.com. Yeah. So it's not like when you say hit and miss, it's okay, it's not really much of a miss.
Yeah, for sure. I guess, some people they're like, I only want A+ schools, right? I don't personally care about that. But
no.
It really, just go to niche.com and you can judge for yourself.
Definitely.
So that's it. That's our video.
And remember, we are licensed realtors in the state of California. So as much as we love making these videos, what we love more is to help you with your real estate needs. So whether you're looking to buy or sell a house, what you want to do is you want to give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email.
Or you can reach out to us via WhatsApp. However you want to get a hold of us, we've got your back.